got another episode of Top Cops with the legendary comedian Bill Squire, who you can also catch on YouTube at Bill Squire. What's good, my dog?
How you doing?
All right, so cool. When we was chopping up in the green room the other day, you told me your first Jordans was a pair of Olympic 7s.
Yes.
Yes.
I was in 5th grade. Those were my back-to-school shoes, and they were, I think, on sale because it was just after the Dream Team had played.
Yeah.
So my mom finally bought me some Jordans, and I came to school, and everybody, like all my friends, are flipping out. They're like, "These are amazing!" And they had the 9 on the back rather than the 23, so they were very unique compared to what everybody else was wearing. And I don't even think people were really wearing 7s yet. Everybody still had their 6s from the year before.
Yeah. So tell these new sneakerheads the glory days of a sneaker like that being on sale and largely available at retailers.
I mean, I was a little kid, so like you see shoes, and that was the only way you'd get them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in 5th grade. I didn't have money to buy them myself, so you just wait and hope they had your size. But things weren't selling out then because they were so mass produced. There were so many, and they would just keep filling it up, and it was nice. And even when I started buying sneakers as an adult, you could get stuff for retail pretty easily, and now it's just insane. It's calmed down a little bit. During the pandemic, it was insane where like everybody was just buying them all up. But yeah, it was a special time. It was a very special time.
During that pandemic, how do we feel about New Balance and Asics?
I mean, as a dad, they're like my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna mow the lawn, or I'm gonna go out with my girl. You gotta have some Asics and some New Balances.
Yeah.
I mean, that's either it's great for any situation really. And if you know, you know.
Is there anything that's like taboo to you for sneakers, like cardinal sins?
Cardinal sins. I think my cardinal sin for sneakers is judging other people's sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
I think worry about your own feet, not other people's feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I get annoyed with in sneaker culture, where people like they'll see people wearing the Dunks, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a basic shoe," but for some people it works. Some people it's all they need. That's all they're after. So I don't like to worry about other people's shoes other than just what I like.
Speaking of like what you're after, is there any grails that you're still on the hunt for?
There's a few. There is. I just got the Grape 5, so that was a big one. Fragment 3s. I think you have a pair today that I might grab. And then I don't have many. I kind of just want a pair of 9s that I like. I don't have any 9s. I had one and they didn't fit right, but just a pair of 9s just to have them would be good.
I could see you in a pair of like playoff 9s or like olive 9s.
Oh,
olive
that's
9s would be sick.
Playoff 13s keep eluding me somehow.
Really?
Yeah. It's just either I don't have the money at that time or they don't have my size.
Oh, we'll get you a pair of playoff 13s. Don't worry, Bill. We're gonna do some shopping today.
Yeah.
Were you a big like wrestling guy?
I was the Raw era. Yeah, the Attitude era.
Mm-hmm.
Big into it for the Attitude era. I mean, I think everybody was. So all those years with the when Stone Cold and The Rock were going back and forth at each other, and Mick Foley and all that stuff was that was huge.
What's the tie between like comics and wrestling? Like, why do we all love wrestling?
Because it's dramatic, but they're also kind of freestyling out there, and they can be funny. So like that's what pulled me in when I was a kid, was not just that it was exciting, but the way that they were kind of roasting each other would be really funny. And that's what got The Rock over as a heel. Like he was playing heel to Stone Cold, but he was just as entertaining and just as funny. And those two and their charisma going back, you didn't want to miss it. It was insane.
All right. So as a comic, like, how do you pick your shoes that you're gonna like perform in?
I usually just go what shoe I'm gonna wear and then find a shirt to match it. That's kind of all I do. Is I go, okay, so if I'm gonna wear these, like the Cement 3s today, I go, all right, jacket's gray, shirt's black, shoes are gray and black. It's all working out. Keeping
it simple. So it's not like it's not like when you're like shooting a special, you gotta have on like a special pair of kicks or anything.
No, for my special, so each time I've shot a special, I've worn a special pair of kicks. In 2 of them, you can't even see my shoes. But I had, so in my first one at Hilarity's Bam Bam, I was wearing 4s, the Bread 4s, which are one of my favorite of all time. And then in my second one at the Funny Stop, in Cuyahoga Falls, I was wearing the penny ones, and I got those that day.
Heaters.
Yeah, I love those. But you can't even see them. And then my latest special, I got the Grape 5s, and those were the first Jordans that I ever saw in person. My cousin had a pair of them, and I have a joke that references my cousin. He passed away when he was 17, so I kind of wore those as a tribute to him. Those are one of my favorite pairs, and wearing those shoes for him, it kind of like made it a little more special for that day.
Also, as a sneakerhead, we make shoe contact before we make eye contact.
Yeah.
So is there any other like sneakerhead comedians that you want to shout out whose collections you respect?
Let me think.
So?
Yeah.
Put the Jeopardy music behind this.
Yeah. All right, let me think. Who? Jeff Tate.
Mm-hmm.
He's got good sneakers. Bert Kreischer actually wears some pretty good sneakers. He likes the Dunks, and he wears a lot of off-white stuff.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to Jay Dang because he did the custom for him for his special. That was sick.
Yeah. And then yeah, I bet that dude.
Yeah, he comes to here sometimes.
Yeah.
Thanks to homie.
Who else? I mean, Eddie Griffith's one because he's the first one that I heard of requesting a specific shoe. So he'd always request Air Force Ones to be in his green room. Yeah. So that's one. And then I don't like him, but Chappelle's always got something weird on.
Yeah.
Like I like him as a comic. I don't like the shoes he wears.
And his last special, he was wearing West Indies, and I was like, "That's okay, cool."
Yeah, I mean, they're just that's one he can pull off.
Yeah.
I would not wear that.
Yeah,
That's just not my style.
okay.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't do nothing like a foam runner?
No. So you know how they did like the Adidas kind of ripped these off and released them? I got a pair. I put them on, and I was like, no. I took them right back to the store, and the guy's like, "Why are you returning these?" I'm like, "I'll show you." And I put them on. He goes, "Oh, I see."
It makes perfect sense.
He understood. He's like, "Well, I'm gonna get them."
Being born and raised in Cleveland, got a lot of rich sports history in this town. What's some of your favorite vintage pieces?
I mean, anything starter, just because that was, you had to have it or you were nothing. So especially, and then these Indians jackets back in the day, I had this one specifically, and I wore that thing wait till it was too small for me and beyond, because it was just such a classic piece of gear, especially with the red sleeve over here.
The attention to detail.
Yeah. I wore it for a lot of years. And then, I mean, brown stuff is always just, the thing about brown stuff, even when it's new, it looks vintage just because of that color scheme.
Yeah.
And then Cavs stuff, if you're going, if you got the blue and orange, that's always going to catch my eye. And then the few years when they had this, the black and blue with the wave and everything, like I was not as strong on that, but once we got Sean Kemp and we had those Tyrone Hill years, like I really enjoyed it, just seeing those guys in it.
Is there like a shoe that did a partnership with another company, like a collab, and it was just like, man, the things they did with that shoe are mind blowing. Whether you would wear that shoe or not, you just appreciate it for like the art that it is.
So the ones that they did to promote, it was a Simpsons Adidas collab, and they did a whole bunch. And the ones that they did for, it was like the Simpsons living room. There's so many different materials. They were easy to get, but they're so good. I love those shoes, and I'll wear those. The color scheme's wild. It's an underrated shoe in my opinion, because anytime I wear those, I feel like $1 million. It's such, and I'm a huge Simpsons fan growing up too, so like that's a bonus.
What's some shoes that people like hate outwardly that you're just a fan of, other than the Pandas and the Winterized 3s? What are some shoes that people hate that you're just like, okay, you guys are bugging?
8s. I think people hate 8s, and I love 8s. I'll wear 8s all day. First of all, they just fit good, they feel good, and they, and I like to wear them closed up and tight because it makes I feel like I could D up at any moment.
I like mine a little floppy, like Bunny is. They bug bunnies. So I like them floppy. Yeah, we could chop it up for like hours on hours about sneakers because they're so detail oriented. But I guess this is the fun part, man. I'm gonna just let you roam around and shop.
All right, let's do it. All right, we're the size 13s.
All the way to the top, dog. All right, Bill, you just copped out, man. Tell the world what you got coming up.
Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. Anything that I got going on is going to be on there. I'm just trying to build up those numbers. I'm at 70K, trying to get to 100K by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
Man, follow Bill Spuire. Like and subscribe at his stuff. Follow him on the gram. Just stalk him a little bit. Just give him all the love that you can. Show this man the love that you can.